one of the things that in our local church here that been very important to what we've seen God do in our midst over the last couple of years. Sister Beth started, she had some issues and she'll talk some about that, but got off track. And getting back on track, felt like the Lord wanted her to start a support group for recovery, for addictions and issues in people's lives. And when she first started it, I may cut off the first 2 or 3 minutes of what she had to say. I don't know what else she's going to say today, but it wasn't very successful. It didn't. She came and set up meetings, and she came and sat by herself, and nobody showed up for quite some time. And she kind of let it go, and then the Lord redirected her, and she tells the story of being up through the night and hearing the Lord speak and the tone of His voice and how the Lord spoke, and with the authority, not just the tender compassion, but an authoritative figure who directed her and told her what to call the group Real Life Recovery, and told her how to structure the meetings and how to do things. And that was February a year ago, so we're a year and a half into this cycle, and my name is in this number, but it's not, and there's a few church people that's in this number, and I'm not sure where the latest numbers are, but in that year and a half there's been in the neighborhood of 150 different people that have attended at least one meeting. And through that, we here at Rock Castle, we are a certified state recovery church, recognized by the state, and so that allows us some freedoms and opportunities to work with folks. We have been, and this is not anybody can, everybody can, any organization, any group that gets together, but we've had multiple Narcan trainings here at the church to rescue people who are overdosed in the moment. And we have had folks in this church who have been there and have saved people's lives through the use of Narcan. It has happened in this congregation. A few months ago, they hit him 4 times with Narcan, but God brought him through, and he's alive today. We've got stories of God healing folks through overdoses and issues that no Narcan was present. Brother Daniel was at a convenience store, I don't know, it's a year and a half, I don't know, it's a long time back now, but a young man had overdosed there in the parking lot, and he was already coded, and emergency personnel that were on scene basically were standing back and said, well, he's gone. And Brother Daniel got down on his hands and knees beside him and prayed. And God restored that man's life back in the parking lot. In the parking lot. There are people sitting in the room today that are clean and been sober for some period of time through the mercy of God and the efforts and the reach of Real Life Recovery, and they come to church and they're in our altars and they're involved in what we're doing, and we're excited about the change and all that. And we have, in the last year or two, we take 2 Sundays out of the year where Real Life directs a Sunday service, and they share testimonies of their past and how God has brought them through, and some of the stories. It's just you won't watch TV and watch something more dramatic than the stories that we're hearing from this platform in people's life, real life stories that are happening. And in the middle of all that, Sister Beth is just kind of the coach in the middle, just kind of trying to narrate and make sure everybody's in the right place at the right time, and who gets to give their testimony and things like that. But Sister Beth has never shared all of her story. And so for today and part of our service today, I wanted to expose you to Real Life Recovery and acknowledge Sister Beth. And she's going to come and share some of her testimony with you today. Might be a little different than what you're accustomed to hearing across the pulpit. And I want you to give ear to what the Lord has worked in her life. Sister Beth, would you come with me?
This is completely out of my norm, and the devil's been on me really hard all day today because I'm in a room full of pastors, and the bishop is here. I could sit next door with 100 people and we talk till midnight. So this is completely out of my norm, but we're going to do this. So Brother Aberin kind of touched on some things that I was going to say, but we'll get to that. I grew up in a Christian home. My mom and Dad brought us to church. I was in a Baptist church. Every Sunday we went to church. We started moving around to different states when I was about 11 years old. Got involved, wanted friends, and got involved with the wrong crowd. Started experimenting with marijuana and alcohol at the age of 12. Pretty much my entire life up until I got clean 7 years ago. Since then has been some sort of drug. Went through some trauma as a teenager, personal trauma. We moved here, I was 16. I found Rock Castle Church 20 years ago. I've been in and out of this church, high, sober. But for 20 years we've been in and out of this church. I have been in and out of this church. Ethan was, I think, 3 when we started coming here. Even when I was coming here, and I thought I had things under control. I thought no one knew. Of course, they did. But I was never judged. I was never looked at any different. When I came here, I was only loved. Mark 12:29-31 says, Jesus replied, "The most important commandment is this. Listen, O Israel, the Lord our God is the one and only God, and you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, all your strength. The second commandment is equally important. Love your neighbor as yourself. No other commandment is greater than these." Even when I was in active addiction, if I was not coming to church, Brother Fabrin, Sister Angie, Sister Candy, and Sister Hattie kept my children in this church. And I'm so thankful for that because statistically wise, Mom and Dad's both addicts. Was. Dad still is. They should be running the streets wide open, statistically wise. And I'm so thankful for this church, and I'm so thankful for the love that was given to me and my children. I can't even, I don't even have words to thank you for that. And so, love goes beyond words. Sometimes it is spoken in silence when we don't condemn someone who comes looking for help. Love doesn't just focus on problems, it helps carry the weight of others' burdens. Jesus asks us to share his love with those who are helpless and lost and carry the message of salvation and hope to them. I'm going to go to a little bit about the darkest part of my life. I'm a medical assistant. I had several good jobs. I was a nurse at several doctor's offices. Got hooked on pain pills, and I had access to call them. So I was working at a local doctor's office in town, and won't go into all the detail, but got fired from that job. When I got fired from that job, it was for calling in scripts. They called the police. The police came and raided my house. I'm going to prison. I mean, I knew I was going to prison. The police officer said that I was running one of the largest pill rings in Putnam County. I called in a total of 68,000 hydrocodone 10. A friend of mine has made this statement that he used to use God as his bondsman. And that's what I did. I wasn't coming to church like I should then, but boy, I jumped in church then. And I was begging God and pleading God and please, please, please. Till this day, I was interviewed by the detective 4 times. They came and raided my house. I don't know what happened. It disappeared. I never heard anything else about it. And I know that was God protecting me. And I made God all these promises that I broke. My addiction was so hard. When I was working that job and calling in every single day, I was calling in at least 120 hydrocodone 10. I had a person who was my runner. He would go pick them up and bring my half to my car. Well, I was eating at least 60 a day. 60 hydrocodone, sometimes 120 a day if I called in more than one spray. I should be dead. I did that for little over 2 years. 60 to 120 hydrocodone 10s, I should be dead. It's not even fathomable. I mean, I can't even wrap my mind around how I even did it. So, I was very sick when I lost my job. So I started taking whatever I could not to be sick, which in turn led to illegal activity. I didn't have a job, I didn't have no money, but I was hooked on dope. And I had to have it before I was sick. Got in some trouble, violated probation, and was sent to jail for an extended period of time. When I was in jail, that was in 2014, Katie was pregnant with Emery, our first grandbaby, and she lost Emery, and she about lost her life. The very worst day of my daughter's life, and I couldn't even talk to her on the phone. And I knew then and there, because I love my kids more than anything, but I knew I had to change my life. So today, I'm 7 years clean off of opiates. Brother Favorite kind of went over this. February 25th in 2020, God came to me. He was not nice. I've heard of chastisement. That's really how he did me. I don't want to ever have to go through that again. So that was on February 25th. On February 27th, I had my first meeting. We're a year and a half in. Our last recovery Sunday was Valentine's Day. And from Valentine's Day till today, we've had 40 new people in that room. We have had a total of 163 people. And it blows my mind.
Amen.
There has been, addiction is addiction, and it's hard, and it's real, and it's just so ugly. But there has been some stories that just blows my mind.
Thank you, Jesus.
Unbelievable. And that night when God came to me and was very detailed on how I should run these meetings, and up into the name, he gave me the name of the meeting, he told me that there was a war coming. And that the people that sat in that room would be some of the strongest soldiers in his war. Addicts know how to survive. They fight for their life daily. But now, instead of fighting for our life, we're fighting for Jesus. It totally just blows my mind at what God is doing. He is really truly raising an army, and Satan is so mad and he is fighting so hard against it, but we already know he's losing. So the Narcan training, we have had 37 people trained in Narcan, certified in Narcan. We have had 16 people who were certified in the trauma suicide training. So I just want to leave you with this. Jesus wants to restore us and use us to support fellow strugglers. Jails, rehab, crazy house. The only answer, the only thing that works is Jesus. Jesus has all the power over the problems that bind us. He is more powerful than any dependency, any problem, and any weakness. He desires to help no matter how terrible our past. All we have to do is look to him and cry for help.
Some of the people they just looking for, that bondsman for the minute. They ain't sincere. I'm not the judge of their heart.
Come on.
I wasn't called to decide that. I was called to sow seed.
Amen.
I was called to spread love. Be shed down in our hearts. It's changing who we are in this church. The Sunday morning crowd. All of us must admit the Sunday morning crowd at our churches ain't what it was years ago. That's true, just because of the culture we're in. But the church around here on a Sunday morning, I got more. Look, I look on Facebook on who's been arrested this week to account for people that's supposed to be at church. They were here last week. I know that guy, he was here last month. That's who we're preaching to on Sundays now. That's who we're preaching to. I said a long time ago, if folks from the church down the road want to come and experience truth and experience the move of God, that's great. But there's enough people out there that are addicts and they're homeless and they need love to fill all of our churches without the bother nobody else and no other church. I'll just tell you, I'm proud of this group.
Amen.
Proud of that group. They get together on weekends and so they go to other counties, they go to other places to support other support groups and to encourage one another. They get together, they got this line out thing. I don't understand what that means, but they got this, they call it line out, and they communicate with each other all day long and share encouragement. And when one struggles, they all know it and they all pray and support each other. It's tremendous watching it happen. I'm very proud of that group. Glad of what God's doing in them. So would you just thank the Lord and one more time for what God's doing in those folks.